What's up guys, it's Drac and we have another brand new blaster review to bring to you. Now this is of course the Zombie Strike Outbreaker bow. We weren't supposed to see this until 2017, but it started trickling to a few different retailers, one of which was down in Australia land. So as you can see, that is a gray trigger on the box model, and I'm quite sure that this will be a gray trigger model inside because it is from the land down under. Speaking of which, huge thanks to my friend Ben A for sending this my way. He was very quick with the turnaround, which allowed me to get it quickly so that I could make a video quickly for you guys. So this is the Outbreaker bow. It should hold 5 shots. It is part of the Zombie Strike line. Now we already had a crossbow in the Zombie Strike line, but as Zombie Strike progresses, it gets more and more about these found materials. So we can see here there's a wrench. We've got a pair of needle nose pliers. Down here is the handle. Still plenty and plenty of grip tape, as though it's the only thing that you can find in the Zombie Strike apocalypse. We have a tactical rail up top, it looks like, rotating barrels in our drum. So this is essentially a glorified Spectre, as it does hold 5 darts worth of capacity. And then it appears to be some sort of scissors or tweezers handles in the back, allowing you to prime, and then like a protractor of some sort as the stock. This is just a wild blaster, but our mission is to make a break to safety. Function is blasting crossbow, and results is cross out zombies. That's a lot of wordplay for Hasbro's marketing team. Let's get inside, see what we've got to work with. So, as suspected, this is of course the gray trigger model. The fact that this is not attached means that it is entirely non-functional. This is going to be a pullback and fire, and wow, does it sound underpowered. That is almost certainly because of the gray trigger nature of the blaster, but I imagine that this is not going to be a super potent blaster to begin with. After all, it is essentially a pistol with a weird stock built on. So here's this. Those are our bow arms. I imagine that once these go on, you can see how this kind of pinches in to here, that they will be very difficult to remove. So if you are planning on modifying your Outbreaker bow, I highly, highly recommend you do that pre-assembly, especially since putting the bow arms on is not necessary. I will be putting the bow arms on and then removing them for my mod guide because I feel like it's important to know how to do that. So barrels are good so far. The cloth wrap is kind of funky on the barrels, especially since it's asymmetric. That's kind of wild, but the barrels are holding a lot of the darts. For some reason, one of them, or 2 of them, are shorter than the other 3, which is, oh my gosh, like the OCD is kicking in hardcore. This is the tallest barrel, then these 2 are of similar, and then some of them are shorter, like, just very, very confusing. I guess that's apocalypse style, I don't know. The plier handle isn't that bad. This is the most comfortable, weird Zombie Strike handle yet, but it's got a very funky angle to it where it feels like it wants to fall out of the webbing of your hand. If comfort is important to you in your blaster, then I don't think that this is the blaster for you. But the string itself just kind of snaps up and under here. You can see that there's these like retention lips to hold it into place, and yet I have it upside down. So make sure you put it in the right way, and then this will snap up and in, clicks into place. No muss, no fuss, no problems. Then we've got wing nuts sticking off the side in molded plastic. Wow, there's just a ton of goofiness going on with this blaster. I love the aesthetic of it. Hopefully the performance isn't too terribly bad. This is holding all the way back. It does not retract forward afterwards. So in true crossbow style, there is going to be a little bit of tension on these arms. And then firing our gray trigger model, it's getting surprising results. I thought gray trigger versions were much worse than this, but that is about 25-30 feet. Flat shots and then angled, getting closer to that 40-foot mark. Go ahead and load it up one more time. Of course, it will fire all sorts of elite and elite compatible darts. It'll take Koosh, it'll take regular elite. There's a suction cup elite in here. I wonder if the barrels with more effective barrel length in them are actually better, or if it's just not that big a deal here. But very strange aesthetic choices. As far as rapidly firing, it's not going to be easy. My fingers are adult size, which means that getting them in here, they actually get pinched really hard pulling them back. So this is not a particularly comfortable blaster in terms of its ergonomics in any way, but it's definitely neat. It's a nice addition to the Zombie Strike line. It's always good to see crossbows in any variety, but at this point, I'm sure you guys can tell that I am searching for nice things to say about it because the performance is not stellar, the ergonomics are not great, and while it does look kind of cool and I'm sure it would steampunk up nice, this is a bad buy as far as I'm concerned. I would definitely take a strong pass on this blaster, and I would come back and wait for some of the far better blasters coming out right now. I am a big believer in the Artemis, and I think that there are some other special things coming out that are worth looking forward to. Particularly, I like some of the newer Modulus accessories coming out. So I think that the Outbreaker bow is definitely a pass, but if you would like a definitive range test and crony of this blaster, I will be linking that in the toy lab below, as I have been recently, and you can take a look at that. However, when you are looking at those ranges and that crony result, keep in mind that this is the gray trigger version, which means that its spring is probably a little kilograms light, and so the orange trigger version, or the one that will eventually show up in the States, is likely to be a better version of this in terms of its performance. But we will crony it nonetheless because that data is valuable to some of you and you have asked for it in the past. But that is my review of the Outbreaker bow. Highly recommend passing up on this one. Maybe pick it up when it goes on sale for something around like the $8 range, but at its current MSRP, I can't recommend it to anyone. Much love, Nerf on, Drac out.